What's going on? Mike Hobbs here, and my business partner actually asked me how I could turn this camera right here. This is a Sony ZV-E10 camera. How do we turn this into a webcam? And there's actually a way to directly connect it and turn it into a webcam, but I'm going to be showing you the best settings to do it because if you just plug it in and go, it actually doesn't turn out as good as you want it. You might as well just be using a regular webcam like I have right now. I'm just using a regular webcam to shoot this video because I am going to be showing you the settings on this camera to actually turn it into a webcam. So let me show you real quick some of the prerequisites. So the first thing is, why don't you just use a USB connection? Well, this does have a USB connection to it. And the only problem with it is it only makes it a 720p output, which means you can't even do a full HD video with this webcam, which is fine for live streaming. You might not even notice a difference, but I do, right? I notice a difference big time when I use 1080p. So if you connect it with a capture card, you now can go all the way up to 4K streaming. I don't see very many people streaming in 4K nowadays, but if you want to, you can because this is a 4K camera. So technically, you will be able to do that if you want to. But the main reason I set it up like this is for the 1080p webcam using this camera. Okay. And so here are the prerequisites. You need the camera, of course, and I'll actually link this document below in the description so that you can have easy access to all the settings and everything that we walk through in this video. So you first need the camera. This is the one that I use. I'll have links to these as well in that document. Then you need a micro HDMI cable. This is just what connects. This end goes into the camera, and then this end goes into your capture card. And so that's the second thing. Then right here is either the Elgato. I actually buy a 4K one. There's cheaper ones out there. So there's like some up here for 55 bucks and different ones out there. So feel free to do your own shopping if you'd like. But the one that I personally use is either the Elgato Cam Link. If you're on a PC, this works better. For me, the one that works the best for a Mac is this Media one. They're both $99, so feel free to pick one that you want or get a cheaper one. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I just buy the 4K one just in case I want to stream in 4K eventually because this is a 4K camera. I want the ability to stream in 4K if I want to. So either the Elgato or this. And so this little cord plugs into the Elgato or the Media on one side. So right here, there's a little HDMI port right there. And then this plugs into your computer. Okay. So you'll plug that into your computer. You'll plug this into this, they call it a micro HDMI. Okay. So right there. And then you plug this into the middle slot of the camera. So on the side of the camera, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but on the side of the camera, you will see a little slot, the little middle slot there is where that goes. And then the last thing you'll want is a dummy battery. I personally don't feel like you should be wasting your battery life of your actual battery with this method. Yes, you can plug a USB cord in, a USB-C cord, and keep the battery charged at all times, but that's just draining your battery. I don't feel like that's worth it. Just take the battery out, plug in a dummy battery. So this acts like a battery, and you just put that at the bottom of the camera. So just down there, it's just a little cord that comes out of the bottom of the camera. And so just put a dummy battery in there, and then you will never have to worry about messing with the battery ever again. They're only 20 bucks. And so I definitely recommend doing that. So once you have all the prerequisites, you have the camera, the micro HDMI cable, a capture card, and the dummy battery, you are ready to turn this into a webcam. So I'm going to go over some of the settings first before I mount it up and show you what it looks like. All right, so I'm capturing this with my phone camera, so hopefully it's okay. But there's a menu button right here at the top. There's an FN button down here. There's a little wheel that you can use. And then up here at the top, there's the on and off buttons and things like that. So the first thing is you just want to make sure it's in the video mode. So right here, there's three settings. There's camera, video, and then slow motion. And so you just want to make sure it's in the right mode. So if you don't want it SNQ, you don't want it to show the camera. You want it to look like a little video. So a video tab, like right at the top, like it'll just show a little video right there. That's where you want it to be. So just make sure it's in video mode and then go over to menu. Okay. And then this is what the menu is going to look like. So a couple settings that you'll want to go, and again, I'll have all the settings for this in the description. But the first setting you want to go to is your video one section. And so if you go all the way to the top, so there's this little dial here, up and down, and then left and right, and then the middle is select. Okay. So we're going to go to the very top, and I call this video one tab because it has a little one there. And so you're going to want to go down and start going through some of these settings. The most important one, I believe, in this section is the focus mode. So I just make sure it's on continuous autofocus. It's usually already there, but just in case it's not, it just focuses on you. Okay, so that's the first setting. The second setting is a soft skin effect. If you press over, I believe it's on page number 9, page 9 of 11, you're going to want to make sure the soft skin is off. Okay, it usually comes on as on, so you want to turn that off unless you are okay with the video looking a little smooth. I prefer not having that soft skin effect. So those are the only settings I mess with in video 1 tab. Now video 2 tab, you have a couple options here. I think the easiest mode is intelligent auto. The only time I would take it off of intelligent auto is if you are not happy with the way it looks. Maybe it's too ambient, or maybe your skin color is a little different that you don't like. Then I would switch it back and do everything manually. But I'm going to do the first method of just intelligent auto. Okay. And then we're going to go to file format. This is where you can stream in 4K or HD. So I choose HD for now. Again, you can upgrade that later if you want to do 4K streaming. And then record setting, I just do the 30 frames per second. I really have never had any use for 60 frames per second. I don't understand why I would need that. I don't do much motion in my videos, so I'm just usually doing talking head videos. So this is just a webcam. So I do 30p, 50m. Okay. And SNQ, that's just your slow-mo settings. I don't do anything with that. Okay, so we'll go to the next setting, and this one we'll go over to the steady shot. So the steady shot, I want that turned off. Now, I like steady shot on when I'm actually recording videos and I'm moving around on. The only problem with this is it usually crops it in a little bit. So it crops your video and it's zoomed in a little. So I like to turn that off when I'm using this for webcam mode. And then also on video 2, there's another spot that says steady shot. I also turn that off. So I turn steady shot off on 2 spots. So on page 3 and page 5, I turn it off. Okay. And then I go back up, and then there's one more section. This is super important. So you go to the very top setup section right here. And I am going to turn the power setting option. Go down here where it says auto power off temp. I'm turning this to high. This will just make it to where if it gets hot, it's not going to shut off on you in the middle of your live stream. So set that to high, make sure it's on high, click OK, and that will make sure it doesn't time out. Now, also, you can turn this to off, the power saving mode. I don't really use that. Okay. Then the last thing in the setup section, go over to, I believe, let's see, page 2. We're going to go to HDMI settings. This is actually going to make it so we're going there, and then page info display. You want this turned off. Otherwise, it's going to show all the camera stuff in your webcam, which you don't want. So you want to turn that off. Okay, so now we are ready for webcam mode. So I'm going to take off the front right here so you can actually see the camera. This is what it's going to look like. So actually, first things first is we need to connect this AverMedia capture card, connect that to your computer, and then connect the micro HDMI cable to the middle slot inside of your camera. Just like that. And so now this, with your dummy battery in there, with the dummy battery and that, it will now show up as a webcam on your computer. All right, so these are the settings on auto, just right out of the box. You know, it has the auto setting, all the settings that we just went through. This is what the new camera looks like. This is what the Facecam Pro looks like. And again, if I look a little too dark or whatever, I can adjust my lighting. And one cool thing about this camera is it adjusts. If you have it on the auto setting, you'll see that it just automatically adjusts to whatever the light is, which is pretty cool. And you can still see me a little bit with no light in here. And then if I turn the lights on, it automatically does the white balance and all these different things. Now, if let's say this is not the look that you're looking for and you want to just dial it in a little bit more, there are a couple settings here that you can adjust. So you can manually adjust some of these different settings. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go into the menu and I'm going to go over to video 2. And instead of intelligent auto, I'm going to switch this to manual, just like that. And now I have full control of all of the settings. So as you can see, there's some settings on the bottom that says like the shutter speed, the f5.6 and the ISO and all these things. So the only problem with this is you have to know what those settings mean. And so one of the things I'll do is and there's like this little knob on the camera. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but this little knob right here, might not be able to see it, but if you change that, you can turn this down, and typically you want it as low as you can get it. So just turn it that way. And that'll get it down to 3.5 there. And then you want to go into there's an FN button on the back of the camera. You click that, and then you'll see a couple different things. So you'll see the ISO. So I typically try to get it as low as possible. So 100 is really low. We'll start there, and obviously you can't really see me. But then the next thing is there's this little round knob on the back of the camera. I'm not sure, maybe I can try to get it with this other camera. But there's this little round knob right here, the up and down and left and right. Just turn it and turn the shutter speed down all the way to 160, 1 out of 60. You'll see that I'm starting to show back up, and go back to the FN. So you got the ISO, we got the shutter speed, then the auto white balance. This you turn down to what you like. I actually prefer going down to this one right here where it says see temp filter and pressing over and then just setting it myself to where I want it to be. Okay. And so usually around 4900. And so now you'll see that I'm pretty dark. So I need to turn the ISO up a little bit, or my lighting. So if I turn the lighting up, like on the left, and I turn the lighting up on the right, then that helps. But if I turn the lighting up on the back, then that helps there too. So because it's so low, I'll turn the ISO up. So I'll go back to the FN section, go up to ISO, and then turn the ISO up until it looks lit up enough for you. Okay. And that's just how you do that. And then you'll just have to mess around with the settings. So this is the problem with using the manual settings, is you have to kind of understand a little bit of this stuff. It's like the white balance. If I want to look a little more tan, I got to go over and turn this up a little bit till I'm where I'm at, till I want to be. So let's say 5,000. And there we go. And then there's the new webcam. Now, again, I have to turn that display off so that it turns back into a webcam. So we'll go to HDMI settings, info, display off. Now you shouldn't be able to see those controls. So there you have it. Now I am normal with manual settings. Now the only problem with the manual again is if I turn my lighting down, I need to adjust the ISO or my settings. So if I turn like the lights off, you see that? I got to go adjust the ISO automatically, all these different things. So that's one benefit of having the auto on, right? You can adjust all that stuff. But I do think this is a far superior webcam over an actual webcam. These webcams don't pick up light as easy or as good as other things. So I prefer this kind of a webcam using a camera way more. So if you got value from this, I'll put a link again in the description to all these settings. If you want to find out more about how I use video to earn a living online, you can go visit seekprosperity.com. Make it a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.